What is going on out there, peeps? All right, I can't. You guys, I'm getting sick to my stomach. Seriously, it makes me want to puke. Yeah. So a story has come out about Megan Rapinoe here. I don't even like this chick, but because of the news article that they're, anyways, I'm trying to puke. I just got a little puke in my mouth. Hold on. Anyways, so the news that's coming out about Megan, and now I love when the left attack themselves, but because of what is being shared out there is a lie and misinformation, I'm forced to defend this woman. Yes, yes, I know. But you see, my need to make sure that people are educated about this subject and the truth about it, and to point out that once again, the media just turns everything into something racist is what's sorry. Anyways, my need to point out the stupidity of this article outweighs the dislike I have for this unpatriotic, ungrateful chick. Whew. Let's get into it, shall we? Before we do, you need money outside of the system. I keep stressing this: gold and silver. You guys can actually own it. Keep it in your house. When you go to buy gold and silver, go check out our friends over at Money Metals Exchange. The link is down below in the description. If you are a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and you will get a free half ounce of silver. Let me put this out there so people are aware, because we will be hearing something from the news here shortly. So Megan Rapinoe, oh yeah, she is getting blasted from her own peeps on the left. And not only that, the black community. Yes. So at first I was like, yeah, I get her. I can't stand her anyways, until I saw what it is they were attacking her over. So let's get into this. Doobie standard. I like how the play on words is very slick instead of double standards. Megan Rapinoe promotes cannabis brand at the Olympics after Sha'Carri Richardson's ban. For those you don't know, Sha'Carri Richardson is a track runner. She failed a drug test because she smoked weed. And so she's not allowed to participate in the Olympics. So people want to point out the hypocrisy of allowing Megan Rapinoe to push cannabis products after a black, because it's important to know, track runner was banned for smoking marijuana. Now, anybody that knows, and I'm talking about the real pros, anybody that knows about marijuana, we already know what the problem is. It's when the people on the left conflate. In other words, they take two things that are in a similar area, but they're separate, and combine them together to try to make a point. So let's go through this, shall we? The Summer Olympics are finally underway in Tokyo. Sans U.S. track star Sha'Carri Richardson, whose failed drug test and ensuing suspension, reignites the conversation over the criminalization of drugs in black and brown communities last month. Okay, first of all, what the hell are these racist people writing this article trying to say? That only us minorities do drugs? Because look what they're saying. Conversation over the criminalization of drugs in black and brown communities. See, they try to talk about how, oh, we're against racists, but their articles are very racist. So I guess black and brown people are the only people who smoke weed, is what they're trying to say. We know that ain't true. Well, consider soccer champion Megan Rapinoe's latest brand deal additional fuel to that fire. No, there's no additional fuel. You're turning it into fake fuel for this fire. A recent Forbes piece centered on Rapinoe and a new addition to her training regimen. Yes, CBD gummies and topical sticks began recirculating Friday afternoon within the context of Richardson's via public exclusion from the games for a slightly different substance. A slightly? Yeah, I guess. Leading commentators to label the Olympics as racist and sexist towards black women and effing gross. Well, this is because the people out there lack the knowledge and are uneducated about marijuana. Or let me reword that, cannabis. There's no hypocrisy here. What Megan Rapinoe is taking is different than what Sha'Carri Richardson did. I know people are like, wait a minute, they both come from hemp plants, marijuana. Yeah, I get that. But this is where the education comes in about the difference between the two. People are arguing that the difference between the substances are not significant enough to justify the difference in how they were treated by the Olympics and the media at large. Of course it's not. That's what they're arguing because the media fuels this bullshit lie. It's racist because she's white and then one other person is black. No, one knew the rules and broke them, and there are consequences. You see, actions have consequences, and we shouldn't make exceptions for people because they're black. Sorry, don't know what to tell you. If I'm competing in a sport and I know there are rules there that I have to follow, and I know that if I violate one of those rules, there could be repercussions, that's nobody else's fault but my own. Just like it's nobody else's fault but Sha'Carri Richardson's fault. Nobody slammed a joint in her mouth and made her smoke it. She knew that was a violation. She took the risk. And she's paying for it. Now, let's get into the deep education. The difference between CBD products, which again comes from the same plant that Sha'Carri Richardson smoked. The difference is this. CBD oil comes from the plant, but you don't get high from it. It's the medicine part of the plant. That's you getting to the plant before the THC develops. That's right. You see, technically what Sha'Carri Richardson got in trouble for was digesting or ingesting THC. That's the illegal part of it. That's not in CBD oil. There are entire farms in California. I'm talking about cannabis farms where they're growing these plants without THC. They're THC-free plants. Yes, there's such a thing. Because they're grown for medicinal purposes only. And what is that medicinal? Or what is the medicine? CBD oil. So no, it's not the same. Come from the same plant. I get it. But the effects are different. So Megan, you guys are making me defend her. They just want to make this a race issue. Because that's what the media does. Because that's the new hip thing. And as much as I enjoy watching the left eat their own, it drives me insane when they try to turn everything into something racist and they conflate the information. When the cannabis plant is growing, you monitor it very, very closely. And right before the development of the THC, you yank the plant. You take it for its cannabinoid oil. Two different things. There's no hypocrisy here. This isn't racist. This isn't sexist. There's no double standards. Trust me, even Sha'Carri, is that her name? Sha'Carri Richardson even knows the difference between the two, whether she'll admit it or not. So you could rub the oil on your joints when they're sore, and it'll make them feel better. I know. I sell the products. So if you got stiffness and joint problems, there's a link right down below for my HempWorx. There's all kinds of products in there that use the different parts of the cannabis plant. It's not the same as inhaling it. Two different things. So for all these people to turn around and make this into something racist or something like it's just ridiculous. You could go through here and just see it back and forth. They disqualified Shakira Richardson for testing positive for marijuana, but have those two white women promoting it and talking about using it to help them as athletes. No. Let's be more specific again. You see, Shakira Richardson failed a test because she inhaled THC from the cannabis plant. You see, let me show you the difference between the two. If you take a joint and you smoke it and you get high, you're going to fail a test. If you take cannabinoid oil and you take a drug test, you're not going to fail it. That's because the thing that triggers a positive test is THC. There's no THC in CBD oil. Let me reword that. There's light traces. You don't get high from taking CBD oil. As a matter of fact, you can take CBD oil, like I just said, and not fail a drug test for the most part. I say for the most part because there are some companies out there that are pushing the limit. And yes, you can buy CBD oil with THC in it. You have that option. But again, there's a difference. Now, what I should have found out is whether or not she's pumping out their CBD oil with THC. Then again, I would agree that's double standard. But obviously, they've all been tested, and she did not fail a drug test. Therefore, her CBD does not have the THC in it. Here we go. The Olympic is racist and sexist towards black women. Yeah, I know. Everybody's sexist. Everybody's racist. Shikari. Is this Shakira? I think it's Shikari. I might be wrong. I apologize for hacking up her name. Gets disqualified, but Rapino gets amplified. THC and CBD come from the same plant. Yes, they do. That's a good way to point out. But I love how you fail to continue with the facts, just so you can continue to make your point. You see, that's what the people on the left do. They'll tell you parts of the information that benefit their side of the argument, but they won't tell you all of the facts. Reminds me of how black people were punished 100-1 for crack versus cocaine. Gotta love white privilege and institutionalized racism. Well, the irony of that comment is this: who's created the institutionalized racism? I mean, come on now. I don't have to be specific or point out that the Democrats, I let it out, create the policies out there that's made that happen. But I do agree with the crack versus cocaine. There's no doubt in that one. But the Olympics aren't going around disqualifying crackheads and allowing cokeheads to compete. There's a huge difference. So I get where the point you're trying to make, but no. It's apples and oranges. Sure, they're both fruits, but two different flavors. See what I'm saying? And you coming around going THC and CBD comes from the same plant. Yeah, come on, keep going. Keep going. Why don't you continue to tell the truth? So, the fact that you guys are making me defend, I'm really... Freaking excuse me, Shakari Richardson got banned for using cannabis after she found out her mother died while being interviewed. So what? Wow. You know what? That's too bad. Let's let her break rules because she suffered a family tragedy. No, There's no excuses. The rules are the rules. You don't have to like them. If you don't like them, then don't compete. If that's the case, you know how many dead relatives are going to pop up in sports? My grandmother died. Yeah. Didn't your grandmother die last night? Or the other grandmother? Well, the year before that was your other grandmother. It's my adopted grandmother. How many adopted grandmothers you got? Well, how many's died? 6. Oh, well, it's my grandpa. Grandpa died the year before that. No, see what I'm saying? You're just forcing people to lie. The truth of the matter is, like people are talking about, just legalize it. You don't get any competitive advantage to smoking weed. Enough of the comments. Just getting racist, sexist, racist, everything. No, there's a big difference. Cannabinoid, CBD, what we know and what we don't. How is cannabinoid different from marijuana? That's right. CBD stands for cannabinoid. It is the second most prevalent of the active ingredients of cannabis. While CBD is an essential component of the plant, medical marijuana, it is derived directly from the hemp plant, which is a cousin of the marijuana plant. While CBD is a component of marijuana, one of hundreds, by itself, it does not cause a high. According to a report from the World Health Organization, not that they're the most trustful organization in the world, in humans, CBD exhibits no effects indirective of any abuse or dependence potential. Well, nor does THC. To date, there is no evidence of public health related problems associated with the use of pure CBD. Is CBD legal? Yeah, it is in most states. It's becoming legal because they know you can't get high off, and it has great medical properties about it. You got to understand that this plant was put on a Schedule 1 substance abuse, which is for the worst of all drugs, like heroin and all that stuff. They put it up there because of the medical benefits from cannabis. You see big pharma's like, we need you to do me a favor and slap these suckers up there as having zero medical uses. You see, in order for you to be on Schedule 1, whatever drug you're taking cannot have any, and I mean zero, medical purposes. Cannot be used for medical things. Which we know now that it is, but yet it has not been removed from Schedule 1. So there are tons and tons of proof out there that CBD is beneficial medically. Does CBD show up on a drug test? Is it possible? Cannabinoid shouldn't show up on a drug test. Now, again, there are people out there pushing the limits. However, many CBD products contain trace amounts of the delta THC. Let's just make it small. Marijuana's main active ingredient. If enough THC is present, it will show up on a drug test. This means in rare cases, using CBD might lead to a positive drug test. It all depends on the product's quality and composition. So now what's happening is there's rigorous testing done to cannabinoid oil to make sure that the traces of THC are non-existing or very low. So most CBD products aren't regulated by the Food and Drug Administration. As a result, it's difficult to know what is in them. Even these products are legal in your state. It is. In California, it's legal. So you have to, here you go. In contrast, hemp derivative products are legally required to contain less than 0.03% THC content. They're talking about the CBD oil. So testing, there is an acceptable standard. This is how much THC is allowed to be in cannabinoid oil. You can't get high off this. What Sha'Carri Richardson did, she smoked the weed to get high. she took it for the sole purpose of ingesting the THC. That's a big difference between cannabinoid. So to prove to you that there are plants out there that were without the THC, listen to this doc here.
It's happening right in downtown Buffalo, and it could change the way we use cannabis. Dr. Paul Rushton is the vice president of plant biotechnology at the 22nd Century Group out of Clarence. In this tiny lab, tucked within the medical corridor, he's turning a big page.
We've learned a lot of really important things. The main one is that the cannabinoid biosynthetic pathway is something that we can manipulate.
That means Dr. Rushton can get rid of THC, the psychoactive component of marijuana. This is a big discovery because physicians and health policy experts say THC is one of the reasons marijuana remains a Schedule I drug, according to the DEA.
Again, in order for you to be Schedule I, that means that the drug has zero medical benefits. Zero. We know marijuana has tons. Big Pharma did not want it legalized, and you can't tax it because anybody can grow it. So, this doctor is saying he could take a cannabis plant with THC and pull out the THC from what they extract. That's big. But plant growers know exactly when to yank a plant before the THC is in the plant. So we don't need no doctors or scientists to come and go, hey, I know how to fix that. And you were like, yeah, bounce. We already know how to do it. We've been doing it for a long time. I used to grow and give it to cancer patients around my neighborhood. Not only that, I have a bunch of cops, believe it or not. Cops in my neighborhood I used to give edibles to that I created. Because they suffer from a lot of trauma. Me, myself, I'm not a smoker. Not that I have anything against it. I don't think people should smoke the plant. You're supposed to digest it, make tea, stuff like that. Even with the THC in it, if you want to go down that path, it's healthier for you that way. So, when people try to do this, again, they just want to say, oh, we got some white people. That's what they want to do, turn this into something racist. It's not racist. Sha'Carri knew exactly what she did would be a violation of the rules, and if she got caught, there was repercussions. I guarantee before she even started pushing her products and taking cannabinoid, she first checked in with whatever foundation the soccer people are under, as well as the Olympics, and asked if cannabinoid oil was accepted. And I'm sure what the response went something like this. As long as it doesn't show up on the P test, you're good to go. So, this is just bullcrap. Again, people trying to turn nothing into something. Now, I hope it continues. I just don't like this chick. But what I don't like is the misinformation and the lies out there. This has nothing to do with race. And these two things, although it comes from the same plant, are two separate things altogether. So this type of thing here, no. I don't want to hear people go, no, there's no excuse. No, there is. There is an excuse. This isn't making excuses. This is the honest to God truth. Anybody that knows anything about marijuana knows the truth. The difference between the two. And no, they're not the same. We know this. People who make the argument that it's the same only want it to be the same just so they could go, racism. Don't fall for it, people. There's a huge difference between a cannabinoid oil and a THC. Again, there is THC inside some cannabinoids. They make it that way, okay, you guys? Just so you are aware. What did I do with it? I was going to show you. Oh, HempWorx. There we go. So here you go. This is HempWorx. This is a product that I sell as well. This is beneficial. If you guys want to learn about it, I will leave the link for you guys to come and see the different products. But if you come over here where it says CBD education and you drop it down or you click it, you will get all the most of the information you need to know right here, because there is another section on here you need to catch. So after you read all that, go here, because you get even more information. All right, it's important. So read here where it says CBD education. Also go over where it says documentation, and you will learn even more. So it says we test the products that I sell. Shows you how they test. It says, why we test, how we test, what we test for, quality control. So there are tests out there to make sure that the CBD oil meets the legal standard for acceptable amount of THC. Okay? So there's a huge difference between the two. I want to encourage you to come over here and learn about it instead of just listening to the crap that's on there. One of my favorite products, and I drink it all the time now, is this hemp-infused coffee. This is really, really good coffee, believe it or not. Also, there are pills you can take to help with your, there's like tropical creams or topical creams and stuff like that. And yes, there's gummies. And yes, some of these products, now let me show you when you go to buy them. So you could take these products, but look at how they label them. Pay attention. Full spectrum, support overall health and wellness with natural, high quality CBD oil. This has less than 3% THC. So basically this is without the THC. But this one over here, let's see here. Full spectrum. Oh, okay, so here it is. This one has less than 3% of the THC. This one here has without the THC. See the difference? So you can get it with it or with one that has very little in it. But having said that, one of the biggest sellers are the CBD gummies. They do kind of put you in a state of euphoria, if I'm being honest. So some of the products do have small traces of THC. So just make sure you're reading the products when you do this. The products are really good for your health. They're great supplements. I take them, no problem. As a matter of fact, some of these products that I take, this is why I lost the 22 pounds. It's actually 24, but I put a couple back on. So, no, this is different. This is just them trying to make this into something racist. So if you care to learn the difference, follow the link and go read the paperwork so you can learn. Because it does have a lot of beneficial qualities to it. As a matter of fact, people who suffer from Parkinson's, have uncontrollable handshakes and stuff, when they take the oils, it stops. It allows them to live a normal life. And if you suffer from seizures at all, cannabinoid oil does dang near all but eliminate them. And for some people, they haven't had a seizure in years because they take the cannabinoid oil. All right? I just thought I would share that out there. So, yeah, I know what she's selling. I get it. No, it's not the same thing. People out there trying to say that it is lying. They're purposely misleading people just so they can make their point that this is somehow racist, and it's not. There's no double standards because they're two separate things. And that's all I got to say. I'm out.